Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Season's greetings. Happy holidays. Thank you for joining us here at USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I'm the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network, where we celebrate our team members, our loyal fans, and our sponsors. Please do follow me on social media at USA Global TV, Dr. Jacalyn, Jacalyn Kerbeck, and stay abreast of all of the wonderful awards that are being given out over the next few weeks to our team members, our fans, and our supporters. And hopefully you are one of them. Our show today is presenting pet psychic AMINAH. And as you know, it's always my pleasure to present her. We're going to be talking about how to safely celebrate the holidays with our pets. And also, I just threw a little bit of a curveball to her backstage. We're going to be talking about the iguanas. We seem to have a huge influx of iguanas here in South Florida where I am. So without further ado, may I, ladies and gentlemen, present to you AMINAH. Welcome, AMINAH.
Thank you so much. Our background is perfect. If I could get this big and have a cape and walk down one of those beautiful folds.
Wouldn't that be nice? You could walk down a pink carpet to go with our background.
Exactly. And everybody out there, when you do what I do and you live on, and I had another tab open, I thought I'd closed them with our show. So I'm listening to you. And I'm listening to you. I'm like, where's the tab? Where's the tab? And it's like, there's just too many of us on this show, right?
Can I tell you, I have to go to our YouTube channel on a regular basis because I have to do a lot of maintenance on it. Yeah. And you'll hear Alcini's voice. And I'm like, oh, shut up. Not Al, but I just know where you hear me saying hello. And I'm like, shut up. Stop. I can't take your clothes.
Exactly. If you have to hear your own voice one more time, there's going to be Harry in the world of death.
Well, you and I are together for the last show before what is the Christmas holiday. Many people celebrate Christmas. Some don't. We celebrate everyone.
And everybody else goes for the sales.
Right. Exactly. Or maybe they're going to the movie theater. I know movies are a big part of Christmas Day. Maybe. So pets are a big part of the family. And sometimes pets don't get all the attention because the children are getting the attention, the babies are getting the attention, or maybe it's football and people are gathered around. So we're going to talk about how to safely celebrate with our pets. And before we do, I just wanted to spend just maybe 5 minutes talking about the iguanas, because they are really incredible creatures. And I know you've worked with them. They kind of look like dinosaurs, but
they are. Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right.
So they have these little, I don't know what they are, these pointed things.
On their spine, right.
Spines, yes. And they run, I looked up, they run up to 11 miles an hour. But the reason I bring it up is in the community where I live, we've had iguanas, but now it seems literally since yesterday that there are far more than there were. We have maybe 7 on our house on the roof right now.
Wow.
So, and they're big. They're
6
big.
feet.
So can you how do they get here? I mean, is it that they were birthed here, or they were transported here? They flew in for the holidays with the snowbirds?
They don't fly, I promise. They run. They run so fast you would think they fly. No, in your territory, I haven't looked this up in a long time, but the type of iguana you're talking about was man-made, meaning somebody brought them from their native tropical area. Where else do you go first? Florida. Or any of the New Orleans, any of the places that has the moisture. And so people, and you're not the only state that has this problem. The problem, I think yours is catastrophically large is because your weather is very conducive to their life. So they do what when they have resources? Procreate. They make more and more and more. Animals are really built and wonderful at having as many young as they can support. I don't know any people that do that, but I'm sure there's somebody out there that only has 1 or 2 children because they want to send them to college and help them pay for it. But a lot of times we overstretch our resources, or the resources, it should be and or, the resources disappear. Right now with global warming and everything we're going through, we are losing resources. So maybe you have 5 iguanas, and we're talking from tip to tail 6 feet possible in length, regardless of the girth. And if you've never held one, they're very heavy. They're very heavy. And yes, they have claws. They climb trees. And they're wonderful in maintaining the bugs and the other small type of food sources. But when you have too many, they strip those resources. They strip too many fish, too many mosquitoes. I don't know how you have too many mosquitoes, but that is possible in the ecosystem. And that's what happens where I think, now this is just me going off of what I know of humanity and the trends of animal issues, is somebody let somebody loose. I don't want to care for this. I didn't know it was going to be 12 feet long from tip to tail. I can't afford it. We got a divorce. Whatever the reason is, it's irrelevant. And they set it free. So you've taken a captive animal that didn't want to live in another country, much less atmosphere, but in Florida specifically can thrive because there's nobody to eat them. Florida wasn't built with these types of lizards. Now there are some that are native. Again, make sure you always know I am not being everything. I'm giving you generalities so you can extrapolate for what's in your area, in your neighborhood. So in Florida specifically, these iguanas don't have a major prey, there's not anybody bigger than them out there, or there's not enough of them to manage the population. Sadly, a lot of times you'll get government entities in there, shelters and whatnot, and they do a pickup. We see this in stray cats. We see this in stray dogs. People just let them go, or a dog walks away. He's not being cared for, so he's looking for food. And what happens is, if they're not spayed and neutered, if they're still having lots of babies like the lizards would be, as long as they have resources, they'll have more young, and they'll have more young, and they'll have more young, until you're in the neighborhood and about 12 or 15 just ran by you. And man, if you haven't seen them run, they're quick. They are really quick.
Are they a detriment to humans? Should humans be afraid of them? Should humans try to engage with them?
No, they are no health threat that I am aware of. We can check with a vet, but I have never ever heard of anything that crosses the human lizard barrier. And that's what we're really talking about. So let's say the lizard gets a cold, iguana gets a cold, a bird gets a cold. It does happen. If you've seen parrots, they get them from their people, or something about their environment technically. But we can't get that from them. So if your dog bites you, you could get rabies. That crosses. But you probably can't get their arthritis or their muscle tendons or whatever. So we don't want to be bitten, because the saliva and a part of this animal thing, do you know who the most poisonous animal is that you don't want to be bit by?
I don't want to be bit by any animal.
So do you know who would be the most dangerous that you really need to protect yourself from being ever bitten by? Because the infection you would get from this bite could kill you.
Do you want to give me a choice of 3?
Sure. Go ahead.
No, give me 3 animals to choose from.
Oh, no. I want to hear you really outlandishly, because the fun of this is that you pick something really great and I say yes, or really great and I say
Okay.
no.
Okay.
So
I'm going to say a bat.
no, because they can bite us, but it's more, the little fangy thing, and then they're done. So, and they don't swap blood or saliva. So there's less, they can give you rabies because they are a carrier. And so that is something, but I don't know about you. Bats don't really want anything to do with you, especially fruit bats. They're after the mosquitoes in the fruit. You do have the carnivore bats, but all they want to do with you is like, you're too big. Why would I waste my energy, time for an animal? Hunting is part of living. You have to hunt. Why are you going to take out the human unless they're threatening your life? And what do I always say? Don't. If you don't like them, turn around and walk away. If you fear for your turning your back on them, well, probably good with lions, bears, dogs. Just back up and say, hey, that's your place. I'm leaving. I'll go the other way.
Totally. I am advocating for a bat-free environment in our house. I'm just saying that.
But they eat all the mosquitoes.
Yeah, I don't want any mosquitoes.
How I love them? I actually held them, and they're so cool. Anyways, I think everything's cool except for mosquitoes. You can eat all the mosquitoes. But an iguana is going to see you, and they're gonna think, okay, is this a threat, or am I safe? And you've seen them run.
Oh, I told you I just saw seven. They're on our house at the front.
So what you guys need to do is first remove the food source. If there is no reason to be there, let's say what's going on right now, a lot of places are losing their habitat. If you have no place to live, think of just the humans who are homeless. For whatever reason, they have lost their ability to pay for their own residence. And they put tents up everywhere. We have a fairgrounds, and it's just slathered with tents everywhere. And during the winter, they actually open up the parking lot and let people live there. And so if you have no place to go that is safe, or your family feels safe, then you're going to squat wherever. And this is what they're doing. They've come into a people area because they have been, for some reason, pushed out of their native area. Somebody brought them. Let's say they're not native to the area, because there are iguanas that should be in the rainforest. And Florida's great, but shouldn't be there. So somebody got a pet, and then it grew. And they're like, oh gosh, what do I do? I'll just set it free. Really? So it's the entire neighborhood and the birds and the bugs and the trees. One lizard can decimate an entire nesting season for ground nesters. That eliminates a native animal that we desperately need with a non-native. That's the problem with non-native animals. They decimate the places they are because they weren't meant to live there. They weren't meant to live there. So we see this in rabbits who procreate very quickly. And so all of a sudden the vegetation is gone, just gone, because somebody decided they were going to let a rabbit free. And then somebody else 6 blocks over let their rabbit free. And then we have 900 million rabbits. So you've got the iguana issue. So where foghorns don't work, the shock and awe, coexisting is going to look like everybody just, okay, if they're on the sidewalk, you're going to be off the sidewalk. Or you're going to be on the grass, and just give them the berth to run by you. They don't want anything to do with you. And the ones that do have been fed by people. And there's the problem. If you create the problem by too many babies, and then everybody puts food out for them, or what a lot of times, we don't even have to feed the bears, because you have to remember, here in California, I have been in bear country many, many times, is that we leave our trash, we leave our garbage, our sandwich, we'll just let the nature have the rest of my sandwich. It's baloney. It's the most processed food besides sausage. So, but bears are going to eat everything. And then they find out humans mean food. And trash can means, ooh, that's where they store it. So in our area where you have Big Bear and the Wrightwood and all these very, very rural tree places, they have to lock their trash cans. Not only to hold them, but to keep them closed.
Yeah, I believe that. When we were in New Jersey, I went out, we went out somewhere and came home, and the trash cans were out for them for the next day. And there was a skunk. It had literally opened, and it was a big trash can. It had opened and it was eating something that was in there. And you could see its hands, like its paws, it was eating. But going back to the iguanas, we have 2 palm trees in the front of where we live, and they're very tall. And the iguanas are going up them and then walking across the roof to the top roof, and then they're sitting there and watching over the rest of the neighborhood. So I'm going to look and see if where these iguanas are, that people have these palm trees here. So it's just interesting. I think the other thing that you mentioned that was also interesting is there are definitely waterways here, and the 2 that are the closest, they were doing some kind of work, I think, to put in sewers or sewage. So I think that's where they were. Yeah. And they were forced out, probably.
And that's anytime you see a mass change, too many, too little, gone all together, something has changed. And either we've moved them out or we've taken their resources. And I'm not advocating for any of these things, because if you're going to, in Florida specifically, I've written a million articles. There are a million articles written about it. There are troops of people that go out in the Everglades, which is really dangerous, by the way, and they hunt pythons, because so many people over the last 15 to 25 years, and I'm being conservative, where it really got popular, we're having pythons, boa constrictors, big snakes, 9 feet, 12 feet long. And they just let them go because they didn't want to deal with them anymore. Well, guess what? There's plenty to eat in the Everglades. The problem is these snakes went from 6 feet to 12 feet because they were getting a lot of food. They were eating the deer. They were eating the small rodents. They were eating the big rodents. They were literally decimating the Everglades. Because we need the balance. We need the balance of the animals who eat the grass and do this, and then build a hole. People wonder, oh, I don't want a gopher. I don't want a ground squirrel, because they're going to dig a hole. Well, guess what? Where they're from, where they should be, and that's not living there, they're creating the drainage during the rain. They're creating the evergreens to be beautiful. And then they cut them back by eating off the grasses. Not all of them. No animal decimates the native cycle. That's a people thing. So we're dumping all these snakes. And you can look at anywhere. There's a million articles about now. There's entire groups of people that go out seasonally. There's some that do it professionally. And they'll come and get your snake. If you need to rehome a snake, find somebody who can do that before they destroy everything, because they're hungry. And that's not on them. That's on us.
Yeah, that's survival of the fittest. And
you brought in an animal that shouldn't be there. Just think, did you bring a bear home? People do it in Hollywood. I'm sorry. That's why I worked at a wildlife sanctuary. And we had this little cub. Adorable little thing. They went, took that cub. Mom was, I think, wild, and so they got the cub, and it was going to be the Hollywood actor. Oh, this bear didn't want anything to do with to learning anything. And this is a sweet bear. This was a sweet little bitty bear. And I told you the story, true story, where I put my hand in his mouth to take out a poison out of his. Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm, I do.
Yeah, we were doing a public walk with somebody, and my because we're co-handles. You have a backup, and we're talking a little bear. It's only half my dining room table, but it had eaten something off the ground, and we were in a really rural place. But some idiot or unlucky person dropped gum on the ground in a wrapper, and that it could have killed that bear, because that, can you imagine us swallowing gum all the time? Yeah, that's good for your system.
Yeah, that's a no.
Biodegrade. So again, think about your actions is what I really want to cheer you on about. Think about your actions before you put the bird feeder out. What are you putting out? What size of bird are you going for? It doesn't matter on the seed. If you want all the hawks and the eagles, okay, you can go buy dead mice all over the place. I don't recommend it, because then they're seeing you as a food source, and the rats and mice are getting prolific out in the wild. It's the way the world was put together. Balance. Carnivore eats herbivore, who eats this and this. It's all a chain.
Right.
There's no wrong.
Yeah, I think it's so important what you're sharing, and I learned a lot from it for the situation here. Let's turn to our topic for today. How to safely celebrate the holidays with our pets. What are some tips you can share here? And by the way, we have our friend with us, Maria
Wonderful.
Eduardo.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Maria, she had something else before that. Is this a type of animal, wood slaves?
I have never heard of that, so I will be dying to Google that. That's
can
cool.
you elaborate, Maria?
Wood slaves? Let's you know what, as my kid would say, there's something called the internet.
Maria is one of our top fans, and we're happy to have her with us. She's also one of our team members. She's an elevated listener, and she was awarded one of our top fan certificates. So thank you for being here, Maria.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
So while we're waiting to hear about that type of animal, tell us about the holidays and how to celebrate with our pets. What are some tips you can share?
Well, the first and foremost important thing is know where your pets are at all times. If you have decided to, most people who have pets include them in all their family activities. I'm going to base most of my comments on that premise, because anybody who's not spending every minute with their pet, and their pet goes to babysitters, or you have them in a back bedroom because he doesn't like loud noises, most of my suggestions won't apply, because the pet is already in a safe place. Because I'm going to assume, you know how dangerous assumptions are, so I'm going to own it, that the room has food, water, and a place to go potty, or you go back and make sure the dog has either paper down, or you take them for a walk during the trip, and you're during your vacation, and or your family's there, whatever the scenario is. Because I don't know about you, I think it's a great break from the conversation sometimes. This is just, gotta take the dog for a walk, and it's a great, let's not argue over that moment where you can take that. So pets can help with those things. If you have cats or caged animals, everything, lizards, birds, that type of stuff, think about their personality and what they can tolerate. I've talked about my cat Rin, uber shy, uber shy. So she loves to sleep in the back of the TV stand. There's a pocket where there's a cabinet next to it. And she loves sleep. This is her new place. She's been sleeping there for 3 weeks. So if we can't find her, we just go, hey, Rin, where are you? And she appears eventually. You need to know these things. Can your pet handle the noise, the excitement, the opening the presents? It's a little late at this date for this year, but try to include them, especially if it's a dog. Especially if it's a cat that's very social. Do what you can. Otherwise, make the bedroom or guest room or somewhere away from everybody where they can hear everything. Because the great part, let's say you've adopted a brand new animal to you, regardless of their age. Younger, of course, a little more pliable, but not always. Keep them in a room with food, water, litter box, paper down if you're not housebroken yet, or you don't know if you'll remember to go and get them in time, so they have an opportunity to not make a mess or be frightened. And they can be there and listen to everything, especially if it's your first year. If it's your first year, let's say celebrating Christmas or a holiday or New Year's, whatever it is, and you know that your pet's not used to a lot of noise and animals or people or whatever, lots of food coming and going, or your animal's the food crazy, let me steal it off everybody's plate, which will make them sick eventually. Give them a safe place to call their own, at least a room with their bed and their food and anything of comfort, so they can hide under the bed if that's where they want to be. And don't force it. Little by little, hopefully during the year, you'll have guests over, and you introduce your pet to those guests on the basis of their need, want, and desire. Can we bold that? On the pet's need, want, and desire. Not all people like to be in a crowd. Not all people like the same food. Not all people want to see other people. Animals should have the right to do the same. So what you're going to do is, do not ever leave a dog in the kitchen where the food is prepared. Why? Because they'll probably eat it or try it. You might not have any cake left, but you might have a vet bill. So don't leave anybody, small children, teenagers, baby, whatever that is. If you know there might be an issue, find a positive way to redirect that energy. If you've got a lot of kids that are going to run around, find Uncle Bob and Uncle Donald and Susie or whoever, and go play out on the grass while the weather's great. Get their energy out. If you plan ahead and you know who your audience is, and you know who's coming, and you know Grandpa Joe and Grandma Susie or whatever just want to sit and watch, it would be great if everybody was outside. Let them sit and watch there. Because I'm sure you can find lawn chairs with a pillow or something. And then they can come in when they're too tired, and everybody else can keep playing. But then the family's together on the terms that they're able to do. Everybody can go to a neutral corner, if you want to say, and say, let's have movie time. If you know that your guests or your kids' guests or some mixture, somebody gets really high strung, like your dog or your cat, let your cats go sleep under the furniture. So many people, I'm sad to say, are so worried about making a good impression. Oh, I have the best pet, that they put them through because of their expectations. Oh, I have the best pet. You're going to love my cat. You're going to love my cat. I can't wait till you see my cat. And you've had your cat like 6 weeks or 16 years. But that cat's like, I don't want anything to do with that person. Don't force it. Nobody, animal, vegetable, haven't tried it with a vegetable lately, but you know what I mean, animal or person doesn't want to be forced into an encounter if they don't want to. If they know something or are uncomfortable about something about that person, maybe they smell funny to them. Remember, animals' noses and instinct is far greater than ours. Honor that. Don't quantify it. Well, what are you doing? And why are you doing it? And stop it. I told you to sit down. This is not a judgment on you until you fall apart. And you bring on that negative energy of saying, oh, they always sit for me. I can't believe they're not doing this. Everybody just thinks, oh, that's terrible for you. And we feel sorry for you. Well, what do we do? Let go of the need to control your animals during visits and say, okay, I have a cat that's incredibly shy. So we're going to make sure she's upstairs, away from everybody. She can hear it. She can participate if she wants. We're not going to lock the door. And a lot of times we have little door stops. So we leave the door open just a quarter. So she feels closed in, just food, water, cat box. But she can come and go if she wants to. If she wants to peek down the stairs, that's great. But what's the difference of what I just described? Dr. JACALYN, can you see a difference in what I described? What would be the one word?
Well, you're giving a choice.
There you go. Given a choice. I want you to treat your animals the way you would treat another adult. Because a lot of people don't give their kids choices. So I can't go there. And that's their parenting style. And they know their kids and what's good for them. And this kid, this animal, even if they're a year older, still probably older than you. If they're 7 years old, then they're definitely maybe older than you, because they have the way their body's age is on quadruple compared to ours. Give them a chance to participate. You hear the part, give them a chance. Don't make them. If you make it a have to, usually it goes pretty badly. Somebody gets scratched because the animal's trying to get away. You get angry. That's not a relationship anybody wants. And none of your guests, family or otherwise, want to see you come unglued on your dog, cat, squirrel, lizard, whatever your pet is. Because it's a time to celebrate, time to be together. If the animal becomes a distraction, then make sure that they're in the bedroom, comfortable, happy. I've seen people put on TV for their dogs, whatever works. Because some of the dogs really, really resent being separated from their family. So if that is your dog, then you need to find a way to have the pillow, his bed, right next to your chair. And everywhere that pillow goes, the dog goes, oh, that's for me. That's mine. And you'll hopefully have been using it in your home everywhere. But let's say you have an elderly animal or some reason you need to take that animal with you, even if it's a therapy animal. But I'm talking more, the animal's more dependent on you than you using them also. And it can be the duality. There's no hard, fast rules. But wouldn't it be really neat if you went for a visit to somebody's house and you're sitting in the easy chair because, that's the best place for whatever your body issues are, or comfort. It's just really comfortable. And you had their bed. Cats have beds too. And they have the little edges sometimes on them, all a little squishy. And every time you go somewhere, that's where they sit. Every animal go, oh, that's my space in this new space. It brings their confidence up tremendously. It brings up the safety. Would I still recommend a leash and a collar? Probably, especially for the dogs. They handle them. But your cat can do a harness. I don't ever recommend, you shouldn't really do it with a dog either. That's a whole different show of the damage we're doing to their esophagus and their throats. So harnesses are really great for that around their shoulders. And what I love is I have a cat I'm in the middle of training, and I got her a vest collar, not something around her neck, because she pulls and she struggles a little bit, and she feels like a hug. So the vest collar works a lot better for what I'm trying to teach is scary. I really recommend that you look into these types of things, not just a neck collar. I would hate for you to have to grab them and pull them and hurt their esophagus or voice box or any kind of damage. A vest, really, you could pick your animal up if you've got the right support and it really straps all around. Then you have a way to say, oh, no, we're not going to eat the neighbor's dog, and we're not going to chew on grandma's shoes, or whatever you need to protect somebody from. But what I want you to do is take it slow. We're kind of out of time for me to say, do this 3 months in advance, 6 months in advance. But that's what we should be doing. You never know when your animal needs to be in a crate. Going to the vet, has to go on a trip, go into daycare, you might need it. And if your animal does not know how to go in and out of a carrier or accept, like my cat, one of my cats won't do it. She looks at it like, oh, I don't want to go in there. But she has to when we go to the vet, especially in the car. I want her safe. So we do it a little at a time. We do a little at a time. And I got her this collar vest for a leash if we ever decide to, if she ever chooses to want to walk on a leash. But that vest keeps her more secure. The animal wants to dig in and hide. The vest makes it feel like they're protected. Hopefully that makes some sense.
Absolutely. You've given a lot of great information for people to consider. And I love what you shared. If for the next year, there's some things they can start doing in advance. But at this
Yes.
point, you've given some great tips. Before we close out, I'd love for you to discuss, I know you've talked about this before, about dressing our pets up as Santa, as a ballerina, as a lizard. I don't know. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, it's hilarious and cute. I personally haven't done it. I've been a part of helping somebody dress theirs up for some event or something they were doing. What I want you to take away is find out who your pet is. Don't, just what I talked about going to see people. There are going to be some animals, as I always use Rin, my shy cat. I would never make her do any of that at all. The trauma to her would be so catastrophic. Dr. Jacalyn, I think she would have a heart attack. If I put her through that forcefully, then that's on me. And remember, it's not a reflection of you. I run into about 50% of pet owners and people who have children, and their son, daughter's not the head of the captain of the team or the great quarterback or whatever. Luckily, I don't run into these people very often just because of where I live and where I'm doing. But I've seen it. I've seen you've got to be the best, bigger, bestest. They ooze it out on their pets. Some people don't have human children and they want their pets to be best of show. There's nothing wrong with that. What I'm talking about is when you get OCD, when you go over the top and it becomes an ulcer for you. Literally, I've seen people get ulcers over fretting. Oh my gosh, his coloring isn't the same, and I can't have a dog that doesn't look like that. I've seen animals, purebreds, go to shelters because the animal didn't behave what they thought it would be, what they wanted it to be. I know a lot of people get married and do the same thing, and it doesn't last. But I want you to have reality check on what are you asking your pet to do? How important is it in the health of both you and your pet's relationship? And is this really necessary? And is it, if it's fun, then you need to train in fun. An animal who gets a bow tie around his neck is going, it's a kind of like a collar that's a little annoying. It's not a big deal. But if you're putting them in, like I've seen the dogs have shirts that go up to their, and then down to their waist, and they fuss with the clothes the whole way. Start little. If you really want to do this, then you need to let the animal go, oh, I can do a fluffy collar. And then I could do like, like a muscle man shirt. You just a little tank top, half the fabric's gone. Any of that. The Goodwill is full of this stuff where you could go buy any kind of clothes, get an old t-shirt and put it over the dog, put it over the cat, to get them used to the tactile feel of that event. And then when you figure out, you'll learn so much. Type of fabric they don't like, how tight they can't handle, and colors don't really, that's never really, but it's texture. Animals are about taste and touch primarily, and then their ears and eyes are the rest. But they're going to, let's see, if you put a burlap sack on your dog and he has really sensitive skin, or he becomes really sensitive because of the burlap, and you force him to wear it, that's basically you putting a Brillo pad on your arm and it itching and driving you crazy, and you can't, and nobody will let you take it off. Please put yourself in your pet's position. If it was being done to you, regardless how important it is, or that your boss will laugh his butt off, maybe give you a raise. I think that's a thing, but trying to give you ridiculous and logic. How important is this really? If you're going to be in the snow and your dog is not a husky or another heavy double-coated breed, then you need to protect him. If you will look at the Iditarod racing sled dogs, these are athletes. These are amazing athletes. They wear shoes. They wear booties to run in the snow, because these dogs are worth thousands of dollars. They're bred specifically, they're trained, and they are loved. So no, anybody who's racing, anybody who's using dogs for sled or donkeys or horses or whatever, you want the harness to work. You want this to work. You want that to work, right? Because that's the love language. So think about that with whatever you do. Go to a party, don't go to a party. Maybe not with the dog.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to be closing up for today, but I want to say a special happy birthday to one of our fans who's watching, Pastor Stephen, CEO and founder at His Grace Orphanage Ministry in Uganda. We wish you a very happy birthday.
Absolutely.
Pet Psychic Amina, thank you again for sharing such brilliant tips. I want to leave us with one thing in reference to the iguanas. I just looked it up quickly. The green iguanas are not native to Florida, to South Florida. They were brought here. Mm-hmm. And as the weather starts to get colder in the northern part of the state, I mean, I don't know how, are they running 200, 300 miles? Yeah, yes. I got to get down. I got to get to Boca. I'm going to get there now. But they do cause a lot of damage if they burrow under your home, or we have an atrium that they could fall through and into the house in my bedroom section. But anyway, happy holidays.
Put the spikes up. Put the spikes up. See if they work. You know, the ones for birds. Now they'll crawl over them once they figure out they're harmless. But that's why foil works when we're training the cats. Foil, we crinkle it and it creates little baby spikes.
Yes.
And the cats go, oh yeah, I don't want to do that again. Anytime they see foil, they don't. Now, iguanas will try again and again. A lot more speed, a lot more energy, and they're heavy. So they'll just squish the spikes and go, well, that was fun.
I'm not going to be taking any aluminum foil and going outside and going, hey.
No, you put it in strips, you bundle it up, and then you put it in strips, and then you can tack it down or tape it down. I've seen it, people too. It has a reflection when it's outside, right? And it's erratic because the sun and everything moves, and it's sharp to the touch. So, and eventually you can remove it because you've prevented them from coming up there, and they've found another way. I promise they will find another way.
Well, I'm going to be looking into this over the weekend. And thank you to Maria. Maria is laughing over here and celebrating. I'm glad that you are, Maria. Yeah. Thank you. We want to wish everybody a very safe holiday season, whether you observe, you don't observe, whatever it is you do observe.
It's a holiday.
Yeah. It's a holiday. We're so happy that you're here with us, and we thank you and we appreciate you. And please reach out to Amina. You can contact her. Information's here. Go to her Facebook page and join her group. Look and see what she's doing. Go to her website, bridgingworlds.us. She's also on LinkedIn. I'm going to ask Maria. I'm going to ask Pastor Stephen. Go over to LinkedIn and connect with her. Come on. All right. Thank you, everybody. This is our last show for this week, and we will be back next week. And again, please do reach out to Amina. Please reach out to everyone on our team. People are here because they want to be here and they want to be helpful. So thank you again. We're signing off for now together. And remember, stay away from the iguanas. Okay?
Except for me.
Okay, you can answer. Bye, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.